22 AP poll is out, and we have some changes up top. Ohio State is the new #1. It's the first time they've been ranked #1 in consecutive seasons since 2014-15. We also see Texas fall to 7. However, they still have a 70% chance to make the CFP, according to the All-State Playoff Predictor. Greg McElroy is back with us to weigh in. So, Greg, what are your biggest concerns with Arch Manning and that Texas team after that very disappointing performance against Ohio State?
Well, it'd be on the offensive side. Arch Manning did not play very smart football against Ohio State. I thought that he pressed. I thought that he was trying to do a little too much. I felt like the moment was big for him, and he tried to rise to the occasion too much too early in the game. It resulted to some bad decision making, and there were some plays left on the field as a result. As the game went along in the fourth quarter, he was much, much better, much freer, much looser, getting the ball out on time and being accurate on some of the downfield throws. They just have to get him comfortable earlier in the game and not allow him to feel the pressure, the immense pressure of shouldering the expectations that he had coming into the season. So I'm still optimistic about Texas, but Arch needs to be at his best moving forward, and a big opportunity for him this week to kind of build some momentum and build some confidence against an underwhelmed San Jose State team.
Yeah, this was the biggest stage that Arch has played on, so it's unsurprising that he felt a lot of that pressure. More on that Ohio State team. What do you think the ceiling is for the defending champs this season?
Well, they can win the national championship and very well could, but the reality is this team is a little different than it was last year in 2014 or 15. Some of the best seasons we've seen from Ohio State feature a remarkable array of weaponry on the offensive side. This group's going to look a little bit more like the Michigan Wolverines from 2 years ago. And while Ohio State fans are going to hate hearing that,
Yeah.
They might be a team that really centers around their defense. They're a group that I think can stop just about anybody in college football based on what we saw in the Week 1 performance. So it's going to be a defensive-led team as compared to the offensive firepower that we've seen from champions of years past with the in Columbus there for the Buckeyes.
Very unsurprising, obviously, with Matt Patricia there. Now let's go over to a game that shocked a lot of people in Week 1. #8, Alabama falling to unranked Florida State. How can the Crimson Tide kind of clean up what they did this past weekend?
Well, they just need to look in the mirror, the players do, and they need to say, all right, how can we get this addressed? And they can do that by being more of the attacker. Person that throws the punch, not the person that receives the punch. Florida State played as if they had nothing to lose. Bama played tight. They made mistakes. They didn't play with outrageous effort all throughout the game. There were moments in which they made critical errors. They couldn't run the football. They had a tough time along both lines of scrimmage. This Bama team remains very talented. And the biggest question we had coming into the season was their quarterback, Ty Simpson, and he was, for the most part, pretty good in what was very difficult circumstances. So I think quarterback's going to be fine, but now the offensive line, the wide receivers, the areas of the team that were expected to be the strength, they really need to step up to help out Ty Simpson if they're going to reach their potential on both sides of the ball.
Okay, so obviously everybody was very shocked that FSU was able to beat Alabama in the way that they did, but I'm very shocked that you think that FSU should be in the top 10 in the AP poll this week. Why?
Who played better than them this past weekend? I mean, I think everyone acknowledges that Bama still has a pulse. I mean, they still have really talented players. And to see FSU dominate both lines of scrimmage, be pretty sticky in coverage on the back end, and to see their quarterback, Thomas Castellanos, who was kind of a castaway last year, left Boston College, it wasn't working, it looked like there were some disagreements with him and his head coach, Bill O'Brien. But 2 years ago, Thomas Castellanos was one of the most dynamic playmakers, not just in the ACC, but in all of college football at the quarterback spot. He looked like he was back in form. And this is a quarterback-driven world. And if you have a quarterback that can elevate the play of everyone else around you and can create that momentum and that belief, you got a chance. And the biggest liabilities last year were along the offensive line and at quarterback. I think they've addressed both with the new approach that Gus Malzahn, their offensive coordinator, is using. So I think it's based on Week 1 performance. How many teams looked better than Florida State? And I can tell you right now, Christine, there's no way I could get to double digits before I get to the Florida State Seminoles.
Okay. Going unranked to top 10 seems a little crazy to me, but I'll let you have that one. Greg McElroy, thank you. We'll be back in a little bit. Saturday night on ABC, number 15 Michigan faces 18th ranked Oklahoma, and Norman Sooners coach Brent Venables spoke earlier today on facing the Wolverines. It's new on SportsCenter.
Got a great opportunity this week with Michigan coming into town. It's going to be a really cool matchup of, again, two incredible programs that represent all the excellence in college football. Going to be really exciting from an environment standpoint. Game day will be here. We attracted, some of the best talent in the country will also be on campus. From a recruiting standpoint, and for our football team, most importantly, get an opportunity for us to match up with what's been in the last several years one of the best teams in college football.
All right, college football analyst Greg McElroy is back for more. So, Greg, we just heard from Coach Brent Venables ahead of the Sooners matchups against Michigan. What do we need to know about their quarterback, John Mateer?
He is electric and one of the most entertaining players in college football to watch. The way he can keep plays alive, the way he can run, move, and maneuver. He played at a really high level a couple years ago, really the last couple years at Washington State, and not enough people have really seen what this young man can do. He had almost 1,000 yards rushing last year at Washington State. He's a 3,000-plus yard passer, and he immediately injects a ton of energy into this Oklahoma offense that had major problems last year, especially at quarterback. Now, he's got some question marks along the offensive line. They got to take some of the pressure off him against Michigan by running the football and alleviating some concerns of getting a little too one-dimensional. But, man, as far as must-watch television is concerned, John Mateer is absolutely that.
Mateer set the record at the school for the most yards passing in an Oklahoma debut, surpassing a guy that you may have heard of, Baker Mayfield. All right, let's go to the other side of this matchup. What are you eyeing from Michigan's true freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood?
He was outstanding in week one. I mean, throwing balls before wide receivers are getting out of breaks, making plays, keeping things alive, just throwing little float passes, displaying great touch over the top to tight ends. He did everything you could possibly want from him in a debut as a true freshman. But as we learned last week with Arch Manning, going on the road into a hostile environment is a completely different animal. We know he's got the skill set. We know he's got the talent. You don't become the top player in high school recruiting on accident. But now does he have the maturity and the poise to go on the road, play against a great Oklahoma defense, and carry his team to a possible upset victory?
Yeah, game day will also be there, so all eyes will be on Norman, Oklahoma.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch him walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak loud.